you have gone through the previous videos on national income. Now today we are going to discuss the theory of income and employment. That is, here we will concentrate on how the equilibrium level of national income is determined in an economy by the equality between aggregate demand and aggregate supply. So before going into the discussion of the same, first of all we must know what is aggregate demand. Aggregate demand refers to the money expenditure which the community is expected to incur on the purchases of goods and services that are produced in an economy during a year. यानी इसका मतलब है कि एक इकोनॉमी में जितने भी गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज प्रोड्यूस किए गए हैं उनको खरीदने के लिए कम्युनिटी यानी हाउसहोल्ड्स, गवर्नमेंट और फर्म्स के द्वारा जो खर्च उन पर किया जाता है उसको जोड़ने पर हमें एग्रीगेट डिमांड मिलता है. Now there are four components of aggregate demand as we observe here. Number one is household consumption demand represented by C, investment demand represented by I, government expenditure or you can say government demand for goods and services denoted by G, and net exports which is equal to the difference between export and import. Let us discuss the various components of aggregate demand. Number one is household consumption demand or simply household consumption expenditure. Remember that household consumption demand in an economy depends upon the disposable income of households. Disposable income is the income which is received by households from all sources to spend on their current consumption. So that part of the disposable income which is spent on consumption represents consumption expenditure. So from here we can say that consumption is a function of income. Now it should be remembered that consumption in an economy does not increase by a same proportion as the increase in income, as forwarded by Lord J.M. Keynes. He says that consumption in an economy depends upon the psychological law of consumption. That is, as income increases, consumption also increases, but not as much as the increase in income. What does it mean? That in an economy, the consumption does not change as much as the increase in income because a part of the income is always saved. So naturally, you must know what is consumption function. Consumption function explains the functional relationship that exists between consumption and income in an economy. It shows the proportion of income which is spent on consumption at various levels of income. It is also called propensity to consume. Now see here, as I have said that consumption in an economy depends upon the level of income. That is, as income increases, consumption also increases in an economy. Now, this relationship between consumption and income represents consumption function. The equation for consumption function is given by C is equal to A plus BY, where C represents the total consumption expenditure in an economy, A represents autonomous consumption, B represents marginal propensity to consume, and Y represents income. So, let us first know what is autonomous consumption. It is the minimum expenditure which the households incur on consumption even at zero level of income. So it is a minimum expenditure which the households have to incur so as to sustain, and it is independent of income. Whereas B represents marginal propensity to consume. Marginal propensity to consume means that it is that part of income which is spent on consumption out of additional or incremental income. मतलब ये हमारे अतिरिक्त आय का वह हिस्सा है जो हम कंजम्पशन पर खर्च करते हैं, जिसे हम लोग क्या कहते हैं, मार्जिनल प्रोपेंसिटी टू कंज्यूम. Into Y represents the level of income. So the sum total of this gives you the total consumption expenditure in an economy. Now you must remember that the shape of the consumption curve depends upon the nature of consumption function. Now the shape of the consumption curve, as I have said, depends upon the nature of consumption function. So accordingly, the consumption curve may be linear or non-linear. Now the consumption curve will be linear when consumption is not zero at zero level of income, and as income increases, consumption also increases, and by a same proportion. In that case, the consumption curve will be linear, as shown in the given diagram. See, along vertical axis we are measuring consumption expenditure, and along x-axis we are measuring income denoted by Y. So the shape of the consumption curve is of this nature, C dash. Suppose the income is OY. At this level of income, the household spend C1Y amount of money on consumption. Now when the income increases by a same proportion, say to OY1, the consumption also increases to C2Y1. Now here, change in income is given by C1K, which is equal to this distance. Change in income is C1K, which is equal to Y by 1. And change in consumption expenditure is denoted by C2K. So MPC, marginal propensity to consume, is equal to change in consumption by change in income. This measures the slope of the consumption curve. Now see, here when income is OY, the consumers, the economy, the spending in the economy is C1Y, and the change in income is given by C1K1, and the change in consumption expenditure is given by C1K1. So here MPC at OY level of income, MPC at OY level of income is equal to C1K1 by CK1. This is your MPC. Now C1K1 is equal to C2K. Therefore C2K by C1K will be equal to C1K1 by CK1. So what we find, that MPC at OY1 level of income is equal to MPC at OY level of income. So the slope of this line will be constant all throughout. So therefore the marginal propensity curve is constant here. As a result, the consumption curve is linear. But it should be remembered that the consumption curve can also be non-linear. That is, when consumption is not zero at zero level of income, and as income increases, consumption also increases, but not as much as the increase in income. In that case, the consumption curve will be non-linear. मतलब जब हमारा इनकम बढ़ रहा है, इनकम के बढ़ने पर कंजम्पशन उस अनुपात में नहीं बढ़ता है जिस अनुपात में इनकम बढ़ता है, तब कंजम्पशन कर्व नॉन लीनियर होता है. So in that case the shape of the consumption curve will be of this nature, denoted by CC dash. Here we are showing consumption and here we are showing income, denoted by Y. Now see, the slope of the consumption curve at point A and B are different. That is, it is non-linear because the change in consumption expenditure at point B will be less than the change in consumption expenditure at point A. So the slope of the consumption curve will also change. So this is the nature of the consumption curve. Now you must remember that consumption function is also called propensity to consume, and propensity to consume is divided into two parts, that is average propensity to consume and marginal propensity to consume. Into two parts, that is average propensity to consume and marginal propensity to consume. Now what is average propensity to consume? It is the ratio of total consumption to total income in an economy. That is, C by Y gives you average propensity to consume. Now contrary to that, marginal propensity to consume is that part of income which is spent on consumption out of additional or incremental income. So here additional income is represented by delta Y and additional consumption expenditure is denoted by delta C. So change in total consumption expenditure to change in income gives you marginal propensity to consume. Now it should be remembered that the value of MPC always lie between 0 and 1. Why? The reason is that the entire additional income is neither spent on consumption wholly nor is actually saved. A part of the additional income is spent on consumption and a part is saved. Therefore, its value can never be equal to 0 or can never be equal to 1. Now let us establish the relationship between APC and MPC. We observe that C is equal to A plus BY. Now dividing both sides by Y, we have C by Y is equal to AY by Y plus B. So C by Y means average propensity to consume. A is autonomous consumption divided by Y plus B represents marginal propensity to consume. So this can be rewritten as APC minus MPC is equal to A by Y, which is greater than 0. So therefore we can say that APC is greater than MPC. So what will be the shape of the consumption curve? That is, it will be of this nature. That is, C is equal to A plus BY. In the long run, we know that C is equal to A, C is equal to B, Y. Now, dividing both sides by Y, we have C by Y is equal to B, where B represents marginal propensity to consume and C by Y represents average propensity to consume. So, therefore, we find that APC is equal to MPC. So, in that case, the consumption curve will be of this nature, that is C double dash Y. This will be the shape of the consumption curve, that is C is equal to B Y. Now we are moving on to savings function. Savings function, also called propensity to save, means what? Before explaining that, we must know what is savings. Savings is that part of income which is not spent on consumption. Now we know that Y is equal to C plus S. C plus S means consumption expenditure plus savings. So we can write that S is equal to Y minus C. That means it is that part of your current income which is not spent on consumption. So from here we can come to the concept of savings function. Savings function explains the functional relationship that exists between savings and income. You must remember that there exists a direct relationship between savings and income. That is, as income increases, savings also increases. The equation for savings function is given by S is equal to minus A plus 1 minus B whole into Y. So, here S represents savings, A represents autonomous consumption, B represents marginal propensity to consume, and Y represents income. It should be noted that as income increases, savings also increases, so there is a positive relationship between the two. The shape of the savings curve is of this nature. When income is zero, there is this savings, that is, savings is negative. And as income is increasing, savings becomes positive, that is greater than zero. Now, savings function or propensity to save is again divided into two parts, that is average propensity to save and marginal propensity to save. Now what is average propensity to save? Average propensity to save is the ratio of total savings to total income. That is, APS is equal to S by Y. And whereas marginal propensity to save is that part of income which is saved out of additional or incremental income. That is, it is the ratio of change in savings to change in income. Now, it should be remembered that the value of MPS, like the value of MPC, lies between 0 and 1, because the entire additional income is neither entirely saved nor is entirely spent on consumption. So its value always lies between 0 and 1. Now let us discuss the relationship between APS and NPS. Now, relationship between APS and NPS. We know that savings is equal to minus A, where A represents autonomous consumption, plus 1 minus B, B represents marginal propensity to consume, multiplied by Y, that is income. Now, dividing both sides by Y, we have S by Y is equal to minus A by Y plus 1 minus B into y by y. So y gets cancelled. Now this can be rewritten as s by y is equal to minus a by y plus 1 minus b. Now what is s by y? It is average propensity to save. So we have written APS is equal to minus a by y plus 1 minus b represents MPS, that is marginal propensity to save. Now how it is actually established? We must remember that the sum of MPC and MPS is always equal to 1. So MPS is equal to what? 1 minus MPC. And what is MPC? That is nothing but B. So 1 minus B gives you MPS. So this can be rewritten as APS minus MPS is equal to minus A by Y, which is less than 0. Or we can say that APS is less than MPS. Now let us discuss the relationship between APC and APS. We know that Y is equal to C plus S, that is a part of income is spent on consumption and a part is saved. Now if we divide both sides of the equation by y, we have y by y is equal to C plus S whole divided by y. So this can be rewritten as 1 is equal to C by y plus S by y, where C by y represents APC and S by y represents APS. So 1 is equal to APC plus APS. So we can say that sum of average propensity to consume and average propensity to save is always equal to 1. And 1 minus APC is equal to APS and 1 minus APS is equal to APC. Now let us discuss the relationship between MPC and MPS. We know that a part of additional income is spent on consumption and a part is saved. Therefore, change in income will be equal to change in consumption plus change in savings. Now, dividing both sides by delta y, we have delta y by delta y is equal to delta c by delta y plus delta s by delta y. Delta y by delta y gives you 1. Change in consumption to change in income gives you MPC, and change in savings to change in income gives you MPS. So the sum of marginal propensity to consume and marginal propensity to save is always equal to 1. Or 1 minus MPC is equal to MPS and 1 minus MPS is equal to MPC. So we have been discussing the theory of income and employment. In this video we have only covered up a part of the chapter, and in the upcoming video you will see more and learn more about. Now here the probable questions which may be asked in your board examination are that what is aggregate demand, what are its components? As we have discussed earlier, that aggregate demand is what and what are its components. The second question, which is very important, is that what is consumption function and explain the nature of consumption function. You may be asked another question, that what is the relationship between APC and MPC? What is savings function? What is the nature of savings curve? Besides that, the questions which may be asked are that what is the relationship between APS and MPS? What is the relationship between APC and MPC? What is the relationship between APC and APS? And what is the relationship between MPC and MPS? Hopefully you will like this video and subscribe the same and convey the same to your friends in need. We have come up with a good vision and a mission to reach out all those students who fail to get proper guide in economics. So please encourage your friends to subscribe for the